Vivify increased by 92%. Wait. I feel like a lot of people might like this, especially main healers might like this, and I'm not necessarily opposed to it, but I think because I read a little bit ahead of time, so I'm just gonna go into it and then I'll actually give you my opinion. So we actually have the blue post on it, which I'm going to go over. So we've decided to increase both player stamina and enemy damage by 25% in Embers of Neltharion. So this will only be live with 10.1. This is very much like an adjustment that was made just before the launch of Dragonflight. Yes, I think it was 40% at that time, coming from Shadowlands into Dragonflight. When damage mitigation abilities and healing are too strong relative to player health, the only way to threaten players is to make enemy damage very high and spiky. This, in part, is why I don't like healing in 10.0. If healers can very quickly top off their teammates and mana isn't a limiting factor, enemies have to be tuned to have the capacity to do burst damage that kills players before healers can react. That is a very satisfying gameplay. No, it is not. Increasing player health and tuning enemy ability damage appropriately gives players more time to react to incoming damage, and it makes players' choices about cooldowns and mana management more meaningful. So overall, on paper, I kind of agree with this. I like the concept of healers being more engaged with everything, with actually having to heal, choosing to making the choice of actually DPSing more impactful. So what's happening is everybody's HP is increased by 25%, but all the damage that mobs do is also increased by 25%. So the player damage, the damage that players take is not changed overall in terms of like proportions, right? You have more HP, but you take more damage. So you will still die theoretically in the same amount of hits. Now, the healer's healing hasn't been increased, so healers have to spam more abilities to heal. This is, I feel it's a good thing, normally. What I don't like is the fact that players can die in 2 seconds and need to be healed in 2 seconds. And the fact that healers were able to do that, I don't know if necessarily that was the design, but maybe it was a little bit of a design, but it was more of the sense of that they didn't have a choice. That's how I felt. So I feel M+ in the past, I feel a lot in Shadowlands, I feel even more in BFA. So I feel M+, and it was always fun. It wasn't fun in the first season of Dragonflight because I felt like my party would die in 3 seconds, or even shorter, right? Depending on the dungeons. I'm looking at you, Halls of Valor. Depending on the dungeon, people would just die super quick, and that wasn't fun to heal. It wasn't a fun engagement knowing that I have to know exactly, especially as a preservation, I have to know exactly when the damage is coming in, because if I'm a second too late, everybody dies. That's not fun for me. I like to be engaged with my healing rotation to optimize my, I don't know, I'm a druid, I'm spamming hots, and then I do a big wild growth and everybody keeps ticking, right? I like that style, so I feel like this might be good. Developer notes: along with the adjusting creature damage and player stamina and Embers of Neltharion, we're adjusting the healing done by several talents. For tanks, our goal is to keep their relative strength comparable to 1007. For damage dealers, we're adjusting active healing spells to be more powerful so that they retain their impact when solo or when supporting a group. We're also adjusting the effectiveness of several healing effects for damage dealers and healers that are based on maximum health to keep their relative effectiveness equivalent. Okay, that kind of makes sense. This is something that I'm a little bit on the fence with, because it feels like the reliance on healers isn't as high. I don't know what the best world is, because the less people are reliant on healers, the more healers are incentivized to do damage. But this change is to incentivize healers to heal more than having to do damage. But the fact of doing damage is not necessarily something that healers choose to do, is that they don't really have anything better to do efficiently with their time when they're pushing a high key, because stuff has to die. If stuff has to die anyway, then might as well do as much damage as possible so that you can clear the dungeon quicker. Death Knight: blood draw healing increased by 25%, and specifically for Blood Plague has 25% extra healing, Relish in Blood 25% extra healing, and Leech from Voracious increased by 12%. So basically every healing source has been increased by 25%, proportionally to keep in tune with the extra 25% HP and the extra damage that creatures do, that was increased by 25%. The only thing that I'm not particularly sold on, because I don't know the actual math, is the Leech, because they've announced that Leech in 10.1 is going to be weaker. Now, I don't know how this scales with the new changes of Leech. It might not actually be impacted at all, and this could just be fine. Havoc's the same thing. Father to the Flame now heals for 20% of maximum health, was 35. Actually, this was nerfed. Okay, interesting. Vengeance, Fell Devastation, heal increased. You heal for 25% more from Frailty. Feast of Souls increased by 25. Maximum Absorb of Revel increased by 25. The Hunt now heals for 25% of the damage you deal, was 20%, so also increased by 25%. A fourth of the 20% is 5%, bringing 20 to 25% maths. Healing from consuming a soul fragment increased by 25%. So basically everything. Vengeance has had its healing increased by 25%. Druid, balance, regrowth, healing increased by 50%. This is bigger than normal, by the way. So hybrids seemingly have gotten bigger buffs to their sustain. Like, I cannot speak too much on balance because you don't really spend that much healing on balance. You could probably spend more on feral. So regrowth healing is no longer reduced in PvP. Okay, that's PvP. Swiftman increase, rejuve increase, wild growth. So basically all of the druid healing talents from the class tree have been increased by either 50% or 25. Rejuve is 25, wild growth is 25. You're probably not going to spend this. I mean, if you want to, you could spend these to heal your party, but I mean, maybe we'll even get to do this in 10.1. Who knows? Feral is probably really good because you have free regrowths within your kit. So this could essentially make Ferals tankier, which is really cool. But again, Swiftman, Rejuve, Wild Growth, Protector of the Pack has been increased. Guardian, this is where it gets messy. Guardian, you're not going to heal as Guardian because it takes you out of bear form and you die, supposedly if you're active tanking. If you're not active tanking, then who cares? Doesn't really matter how much you heal because if you're not the active tank, likely you're not in combat unless you're like the off tank in raids, in which case if the off tank in raids has to do any kind of healing, that should be just flavor. So this amounts to like nothing. This means nothing unless this also applies to Dream of Scenarios, which is a talent, if I'm getting my naming right, that gives you a chance similar to Feral, that every now and again you get a free regrowth. Similar to Feral, but also similar to Pro Paladin that has Hand of the Protector, right? In that scenario, maybe this will be worth it. I'm not convinced. Going into the actual bear talents, Lunar Beam healing increased by 25% is exactly poop. Lunar Beam is incredibly poop. It has been nerfed and now it's been buffed again. In its buffed state, it was poop. They've nerfed it and then they're buffing it again just to keep in touch. This is not going to get picked. This is probably not going to get picked even if it gets double the amount of healing. To my knowledge, after speaking with Pumps and a bunch of big theory crafting bears, this is not going to get picked. This needs a massive double, triple the number buff for this to ever be worth what you would be giving up to pick it. Loon's Favor causes you to be healed by 40% of arcane damage was 30%. This essentially is a 33% increase in healing that's converted from your arcane damage to healing, which is obviously more than the 25%, but still, I'm not necessarily convinced. I'm not opposed to Bear being in a situation where you're going to get heal a lot, but it's not obvious to me like that this will be particularly good unless they buff Mastery a little bit more to increase the HP pool. I don't know what their idea for Guardian mitigation is. Clearly what's right now, it's not going to help. The little tiny buff to Mastery that we had a week ago, though it was in the right direction, it was just not enough. So if they don't want to give Guardian damage reduction, which is what Guardian needs, not more armor, either damage reduction or magic damage reduction, then give Guardians bigger HPs. Make the Mastery give you bigger HP. That might move us into a world where actually self-heals would matter more. Look at Blood Decay, which I'm pretty sure you have more HP than a bear, and if not, you'll definitely have overall more HP than a bear because you have Vampiric Blood more often than what bear has Incarn as an equivalent, which you have to talent into. Brambles reflects 25% additional damage. I guess great. This is probably a little bit more damage. I don't know. Brambles is okay. It's not amazing, but I guess it's fine. It's not what bear needs. Damage for bear is fine. It's not the best, but really bears just don't want to die. Berserk's Fury causes Thrash and Malts grant an Absorb Shield for 60% of damage dealt was 50. Yes, this is actually a good change. This is probably I might be wrong, but I feel like this is the best change out of all of this for bear. 10% is not too much, but considering that this was 30% in Dragonflight beta, which was mathed out to be pretty poor. So I guess this is good. Devastation, Living Flame healing increase. This is not enough. This is not enough considering that other specs have like Swiftman, which is instant. It's just been buffed by 50%. But Living Flame, that's a long cast time. It's only 25. Emerald Blossom, okay, this is good. These are instant. This is fine. I don't know if this is enough, considering that they're okay. They're at very most okay now for Devastation. 25% is basically still gonna keep them as okay because your HP is gonna increase as well. Hunter, Rejuvenating Wind now heals for 8 and 16% of maximum health was sent to 20. So this was nerfed. I guess, I don't know, it's similarly to Havoc healing nerf. Brewmaster, Soothing Mist healing increased, Chi Burst increased, Chi Wave increased, Expel Harm increased, all by 25%. Staggering Strikes now reduces stagger by an additional 25%. Okay, Celestial Brew absorbs 25% more damage. This obviously still in tune to keep up with your HP. I don't know how this ends up scaling because this is again Absorb Shields. Absorb Shields are usually very good. Probably better, definitely better than healing. Vivify increased by 92%. Wait, 92 isn't 92% like? I mean, you don't cast Vivify as Brewmaster. Unless you talent into the instant stuff, but you don't talent into the instant Vivify, right? Yeah, you don't ever click. Would this incentivize you to talent into... what is it called? Vivacious Vivification? Whatever the talent is that makes it instant every 10 seconds? Maybe. Still no? Well, okay. So then, what? I guess it's even double the... Alright, listen. We'll see how things scale. Celestial Fortune now has a chance equal to your critical strike to be healed for an additional 80% of the amount. Healed 65, up from 65%. Okay, this is good. Still keeping in tune. Chi Cocoon now provides a shield for 8% of your maximum health. Was 10%, so they're reducing this. Oh, alright. Soothing Mist healing increased by 25. Okay, so all of these are by 25 except Expel Harm by 75. Well, Expel Harm is kind of poop, right? In terms of healing for Windwalker. Vivify also the same as for Brew. So weird. I mean, Expel Harm heals way much for Brew than it heals for Windwalker, right? Paladin. Protection. Moment of Glory creates an Absorb Shield for 25% of damage dealt from 25. Okay. Bulwark of Order was buffed to 30 and 60%, up from 25 and 50. Light of the Titan's healing increased by 25%. Okay. Word of Glory and Flash of Light. Flash of Light has been increased by 50. Flash of Light. Protection Paladin. I don't remember. Does Protection Paladin have any talent or anything that changes Flash of Light to be an instant heal? I know Red has, or Red used to have. Flash of Light is just a hard cast, right? No. Okay. So this is pretty much dead. This doesn't really matter because you're not going to cast this in combat. You're not going to hard cast spells in combat. And once again, when you're out of combat, it doesn't really matter how much you heal for or how long it takes to heal. So this is nothing. All right, Red. Word of Glory healing increased by 50%. This is big. Okay, this is in tune with all the other hybrids that have bigger than 25% increase in their healing. Word of Glory healing is now reduced by 45% in comp and PvP. Okay, Flash of Light healing increased by 50. Flash of Light healing is now reduced by 30. Okay, so they're making sure that this doesn't outscale too weirdly in PvP. All right, fair. Light Celerity increased Flash of Light healing by 20%, was 50. Okay, so this makes it baseline better, but the talents, okay, not as impactful, I suppose. Guided Prayer casts Word of Glory at 60%. Wait a minute. Does this just mean that Flash of Light is just the same? So if before combining these you had 120% of Flash of Light heal, now you have 150%. Now you have 150, 180%. So overall, no, this is still better. This still boss Flash of Light better. So overall, Flash of Light is my math right? If you get these two, Flash of Light heals for 185% of the current baseline. You never take Flash now? Well, all right. Even for Red? Okay. Get a Prayer cast, a Word of Glory at 60% effectiveness, so nerfed. Okay. Justicar's Vengeance heals for... or nerfed rather, because I would imagine that this takes this Word of Glory that's been buffed, maybe? Justicar's Vengeance heals for 5% maximum health, was 6%. So this was in Justicar's... Isn't Justicar's Vengeance still a meme? Isn't this something that you still don't take? You never took this ever? They put into the talents. I don't think you still take it, and they don't even buff it. proportionally to what everything else has been buffed. All right. Marcian probably has a more sophisticated opinion about Justicar's Vengeance, but as far as I know, this is a meme. Shadow. Power Shield absorbs 25% more, Renew 25% more, Prayer Mending 25% more, Flesh Heal 25% more. Okay. Rogue. Soothing Darkness now heals for 25% of maximum health, was 30. This was nerfed. Okay. Healing Surge for Elemental 37%, Earth Shield increased by 25, Chain Heal by 25, Healing Stream by 25, Enhance. Same thing. Improved Maelstrom Ramp, increase the healing of your next healing spell by... Oh, they nerfed? They nerfed Maelstrom Weapon? Wait a minute, why would they nerf that? Why would they have that? Maybe this is good, because then maybe you're even less incentivized to consume Maelstrom Weapon on healing, which is probably what Enhancement wants to do. Because it's the old Red conundrum. Red didn't like having to spend Holy Power to heal itself, to not die. I doubt Enhancement likes it, so I think it's good. Warlock. Demon Skin Archer Soul Leech at a rate of 0.2, 0.4, which was 0.2, 0.5, so slightly nerfed. I don't think this will affect Warlocks too much. Warrior. Ignore Pain absorbs 25% more. Pain and Gain heals for 3.5%. Max health down from 45, from 4.5. Arm. Stormwall now heals for 8% max health down. Invigorating Fury now also heals for less. 15% out of max health instead of 20. And Prod Fueled by Violence causes you to be healed for 110% of damage dealt. Okay, this felt very weak anyway. Okay, so overall, there's some healing changes, which might actually make it a much more interesting season to be a part of. This is hard because on the face of it, it doesn't seem like anything changes for anybody except healers. Outside of the unique instances where self-healing has been increased by 50%, as opposed to 25% just to keep it touch. So outside of the situation where, you know, you get hybrids get 25% more self-heal. What do you guys think? Because I like the concept of making healers heal less bursty, because bursty is fine every now and again, but burst is, if it's all that you're doing, especially in high keys and difficult rate progression, then that's not fun when people's HP just yo-yo all the time. That's fine every now and again, but when it's all that you do, it gets a little bit exhausting, and personally for me it wasn't fun. Maybe other people like it, I don't know, but I think these are good changes. Maybe hopefully get into a world where healing doesn't feel as oppressive to play.